They did not count Shedeur Sanders' 2 touchdowns. Here's the very tracker right here. They did not count this man's touchdown.
You, me, and Jason Lloyd are never going to be able to convince people that it's not Jimmy who wants Deshaun Watson to start, are we? It's never going to happen.
When Cleveland's official quarterback tracker was released yesterday, 2 of Shedeur Sanders' touchdowns were curiously absent. Not stumbled, not misread, not forsaken. Intentional or not, it wasn't going to fly with Deion Sanders Jr., who everyone in that family called Bucky. He opened an account of his own and set the tracker to blast in real time, matching each drive to the clip, just to make sure no one could argue with him. While that was exploding on the internet, a rookie for the Cleveland Browns, sitting across from a camera, was asked about the very quarterback room where this was all going down. The same team, 2 different stories, and the same week collide more forcefully than you might think. Let's start with the guy who came in from the outside in this QB room, because his take on the vibe is more important than most people realize. Jared Verse was traded to Cleveland and sat down and was asked the question everyone wants an honest answer to. Who's the QB now? And it's not that he skirted it because he was nervous, but because he truthfully says he doesn't know yet. But he does have a personal preference that he keeps to himself. And that's relevant, because Verse isn't just an outsider guessing. He tells reporters he can't call it, but he's inside the building every day. But before that, he was asked about the actual trade that sent him to Cleveland for 2 first-round picks and Myles Garrett. He also said Cleveland gave him the trade information before he even had to ask, which, in his words, caught him off guard, because most players expect to find out who they were traded for on their own terms, not giving it to them. It was not so much the trade context, but the room he entered.
Brown, member of the Cleveland Brown, has broken his silence in regards to his teammate, Shedeur Sanders, and this quarterback battle, which I don't even think it's a battle at all. Y'all already know. To me, if Deshaun Watson don't become the starter, they giving him ample chances to battle it out with Shedeur. But let's listen.
I appreciate you doing this. Okay, I got a question. Because this was a question. So I always say, Jared, I've never been traded. I would be offended if my company's like, Colin, we've traded you for a bucket of golf balls. I'd be like, well, first thing I would ask is, well, who did I get traded for? So when you got traded, because you got to be honest, if you're going to get traded and it's Myles Garrett and 2 firsts, did you ask them, hey, who did I get traded for? Was that the first question?
Nah, I ain't gonna.
What's the vibe of a Super Bowl roster compared to a rebuilding one? Verse was asked directly. His answer was an honest one. We had a veteran quarterback, a veteran coach, and everyone was always locked in business mode, he said. But Cleveland is not like that. The room is mostly filled with younger team members, those in their first, second, and third years. Be able to keep having fun and laughing and get the job done. The outside world is already trying to give a starting job, but the team is still trying to figure out who that person is. Neither chaos nor division.
Yeah. So you go to a Cleveland team that actually plays young players. It's almost opposite of the Rams, where you have the old quarterback and you've got, the veteran coach. Now you got a rookie head coach. You don't know the quarterback yet. You got a bunch of young guys. What's the difference between the vibe of a Super Bowl level team and a rebuilding team? What's it like in the room?
Yeah, it's a little bit different just from the aspect that, like, when you got Matthew Stafford in the building and like that, like, you don't got these kind of jokey, playing around, laughing, having fun, like, all that. It's like, you locked in. Like, here it's a younger team, so everybody's able to laugh a little bit more, have a little bit more fun, everything like that, but we still about to work. But the vibe is a little bit different just because it's not as many vet people. Like, everybody in their first, second, third year for the most part.
Even the guy traded for 2 first-round picks and sits in that quarterback room every day won't tell you a name. I don't know who the starting quarterback is in Cleveland right now, he said. I'm just as honest right there. He said he has a gut feeling about who he thinks it will be, but he is not saying publicly. In any case, he trusts the person who is hired. That should give you an idea of the awkwardness of this from the inside, no matter what a tracker graphic might fool you into thinking from the outside. Why does a public tracker act like it's already been decided if the guy who just entered that quarterback room can't call it? Now let's turn to Shedeur Sanders, who sat for his own interview during the same period. His interview voice was in a completely different tone to the background noise. He talked about starting year 2 with football work after a full offseason with no pro day circus, combine grind, or draft week chaos. And when they asked how he felt about it, he didn't waffle. "I'm excited about the team. The players are closer together, and the process itself." The real preseason reps that followed were the 3 drives he ran in Chicago. Here, Shedeur showed us the kind of self-awareness that is missing when people are too busy arguing about a graphic on the internet.
Let's listen.
Shedeur, you've had a full off season without having to worry about pro days or combine or the draft, just work and prep for year 2. With the spring, the summer, and a preseason game in the books, how you feeling?
I feel really good. I'm excited about everything, excited about the team, excited about overall us players banding together a little more.
Now, the goal is to play a cleaner game and be consistent throughout a series, rather than flash on one play and disappear the next, he said, taking mental notes from those drives. That doesn't sound like a man losing his mind over a QB battle. That is a man who talks about consistency, details, and the boring stuff that really gets jobs. He contrasted that tone with what was happening on social media at the same time, where a member of his own family had to step in to correct statistics visible on camera. One camp is arguing over whether or not 2 TDs actually happened. The other camp is talking about clean drives and mental notes. Both are true at the same time. And it is this gap that keeps this story going. Now let's go back to that tracker for a second, because this is where we stop talking vibe and start talking receipts.
First preseason game in Chicago. What are you taking from those reps as you prepare for this start this week against the Bills in the preseason?
Just certain mental notes I need to take in the next game, obviously, and apply them, play more of a cleaner game, I would say. See kind of like how to stay consistent, within those drives and keep it going.
Deion Sanders Jr., who everyone in that circle knows as Bucky, saw the official quarterback tracker post and immediately knew something was wrong. Shedeur's 2 touchdowns were not there. They never happened. They were never discussed, never questioned. They weren't there. So rather than tweeting about it, he took the action that really ends a dispute. He let people watch for themselves by syncing the tracker with the actual game footage, touchdown by touchdown. The first is a clear goal line ball, which you can see on tape. The second one was definitely Shedeur. Same story and a clean touchdown. There is a graphic that should be tracking this, and it is missing 2 scores, and they are both real.
Tracker came out yesterday, and Bucky said it's a beautiful thing. Now, we know on that quarterback tracker, they did not count Shedeur Sanders' 2 touchdowns. Here's the very tracker right here. They did not count this man touchdown.
Bucky's argument also did not need a long paragraph. He said he would let the video do the talking, which is, honestly, more powerful than any tweet thread could ever be. And that is why it matters more than one wrong graphic. When a publicly available tracker underestimates a player's production in an open quarterback competition, people notice and begin to ask why.
So this is 1 touchdown from Shedeur. Bucky, cut, touchdown. Touchdown. Touchdown, baby. 1. And here's the other. Boom. Cut. Slice it.
Is the way this competition is being presented to the public before it is even decided a copy-paste error someone failed to catch, or something more intentional? In any case, Deion Sanders Jr. would not allow his brother's numbers to be quietly taken away unless the tape itself was put next to it. Also, his reply was not just any old rage. It was a particular correction. The wrong graphic was paired with the frame-by-frame footage. The graphic is gone, and now we get to see the people who actually want Shedeur to get the job in the first place. So who's really to blame for the endless framing of this competition? And that question was posed directly in Cleveland radio, and the answer was simple. I'm not going to convince people it's not Jimmy that wants Deshaun Watson starting, one host stated blunt. People already made up their minds. You, me, Jason Lloyd. But his co-host didn't either. They're trying to sell a stadium here, PSLs and all, and ownership's not exactly eager to put a guy out there that fans are calling in to say they'll boo in the third quarter, he essentially agreed. Then it got even more explicit in terms of Deshaun Watson in particular. The argument in the air was simple. After 6 years, no one really believes he can bring it back to life. The hosts know this too.
It's Cleveland media. Because it's shit like this, and excuse my language, man. Listen to this.
If Shedeur had no real shot, it's his fault, no one else's. And people need to accept that. You, me, and Jason Lloyd are never going to be able to convince people that it's not Jimmy who wants Deshaun Watson to start, are we? It's never going to happen.
No, people have made up their mind.
Okay.
But host also said Watson will get his shot in September once the offensive line settles and the weapons around Watson are truly operational. That's the piece that should have some resonance, because it proves that even the Cleveland media members who are questioning Watson's ceiling still are betting he will get the keys first. Then came the line that's going to be replayed because it completely changes the narrative of Shedeur being wronged. Shedeur hasn't been hurt, said the host. He's been lucky in that this chance to get to Cleveland wouldn't have come up in almost 30 other league cities. That line of reasoning implies Shedeur should be thankful for the chance rather than being upset at how the competition is being conducted. Asked directly if that's how Cleveland's front office sees it, the answer was yes, a history of playing the player fans wanted to see, even if that player is statistically superior.
Deshaun Watson comes out there. It is going to be some commentaries nationally, maybe even pregame, and it's going to be, hey, do we remember what he's been accused of? Like, that's going to happen again, and that's what they think in the afternoon. That's what ownership wants.
And none of us have faith that he's going to be able to turn it back on again. It's been 6 years. So I don't think he's clinging to anything, but either way.
I'm not even going to say he's failed to do it because I think they're going to put the football in his hands eventually, and he's going to get a chance to do
he'll
it.
get the ball. I think he'll be able to start in September.
And he's going to have an offensive line newly rebuilt, and by then, by the way, they looked good yesterday, that hopefully will have gelled by then. He might even actually have a running game to go, and now he's got weapons. Guys, Shedeur has not been wronged. He's been blessed.
If it was just about the $40 million that Watson still owes, that wouldn't be enough to justify it, because the ownership group is going to spend more than $2 billion on a new stadium, the host continued. He laid out a straightforward case. That's plenty of reasons to just play Shedeur, and if he's not on the field yet, here's your justification that he's not ready yet. Rookie's brother clears things up with actual footage. Public Tracker silently removes 2 actual touchdowns. Cleveland radio openly admits ownership has reasons outside of football to want Watson at center, but also admits the team has used fan-favorite quarterbacks over the player who was doing better. Stacking up isn't by accident. It's a pattern, and it's the pattern that is being discussed out loud in that building right now. Watch the video. Listen to the radio. If this still feels like an open competition, let me know. Let's just get it all out there for a moment.
216-474-0092. Do you think Daryl agrees with you?
Yes, I do.
Because this is an organization that has played a player before.
Because he has a brain. He should agree with you.
Because that's Daryl. They're not playing Daryl. If we're going to blame it on organization and even ownership, like this is a team that has played a player before because the fans wanted to see him over a guy who was doing better. Like, that's that track record. If we wanted to say we're getting involved, I just gave you every other reason.
New teammate Jared Verse, who has no reason to lie anyway, says he does not even know who will win this job, and he is not the only one wary of it. He made it clear he wouldn't tip his hand in public. Shedeur himself is talking consistency and clean drives, not politics, approaching this whole thing more like a movie study than a confrontation. To prove that 2 touchdowns actually happened, timestamp by timestamp, Deion Sanders Jr. had to personally step in and compare a public tracker with actual game tape so no one could dispute it. Plus, Cleveland radio hosts are openly saying the decision will impact stadium revenue and PSL sales as well as wins and losses. They also acknowledge that the same organization has a history of choosing players who are more fan-friendly. None of those 4 events took place in a vacuum. When you put them side by side, they don't look like separate stories anymore, but rather one big story that Cleveland hasn't yet come to terms with.
theory coming out tomorrow that's going to break the damn internet. I received some information that is groundbreaking. I have to see the game, how the play calling is, and yeah, shit's about to get real in Cleveland.
They all came down in one place, and there's more to come. A theory that connects the play calling, the tracker, and all that has happened this week is being worked on and will be released shortly after it has been thoroughly vetted against tomorrow's game. So this is where I land with this. A rookie's brother shouldn't have to sync video with an official tracker to prove touchdowns that already happened on the field. And it's not a conspiracy theory when Cleveland radio openly states it's more about PSL sales than bringing in new players, while at the same time admitting this team has been biased in the past. That's what they said on the radio. While everyone around Shedeur is debating if his stats were calculated correctly, he's out there talking clean drives and consistency. That shows who is acting professionally in this situation and who is not. Now, I'd like to hear what you think about this. Do you think that the quarterback tracker's omission of 2 real touchdowns was an honest mistake, or do you think that the Cleveland media is writing the story before the position is even decided? Comments. Leave it in the comments. Sincere mistake or deliberate? And we'll see who wins the fight down there. Smash like and subscribe, you don't want to miss that theory.